Welcome to another episode of HDFC Life presents Live Sessions partnered by ET Now, where we bring together industry leaders to decode the evolving landscape of life insurance, banking and technology. Today we're exploring the power of distribution, innovation and collaboration in making protection accessible to every Indian. Joining us are two stalwarts who represent this shared mission, Mr. Ashish Parthasarthy, Group Head, Branch Banking Infrastructure, Treasury and Virtual Channels, HDFC Bank, and Mr. Lavneesh Gupta, Executive Committee Member and Chief Bancassurance Officer, HDFC Life. Gentlemen, both of you, thank you so much for joining in, and let's dive straight into this conversation. Mr. Gupta, if I could just start off with you, like we were discussing earlier as well, the distribution seems to be at the backbone of penetration for the insurance industry. Tell me, how is it that players such as you are actually investing more, if I can use that terminology, into better distribution?
So thank you, Aisha, once again to be in Need to Now. And so I would say, insurance is just not a financial product, it's a promise. And, accessibility to that promise comes through various geographies which we have, which is metro, urban, semi-urban, rural markets, which is there. Having said that, I think apart from the markets, what are the channels which we have to use? It's bancassurance being one of the large ones, of course, is there. Agency, which is the tied agents which are there. The partnership and the digital platforms and the digital tie-ups which we do. Leading pointer to that is, bancassurance per se comes in with a lot of trust factor for the customer and the end consumer. And it's very critical to understand that whatever the insurance manufacturers have as an X touch points, banks have 10x touch points. Bancassurance really plays a key part in terms of our distribution of business. Apart from the investments which we have done in the tied agency to reach out to different facets of businesses which we look forward to. So I guess the financial well-being which we look at and insurance being the key element, protection plays the most important aspect in terms of reaching out to the customer, because it's a very simplified product. If you pay premium, you have a sum assured. If you die, you get it. And if you don't, that's the expense which you're accounting for. So it's less of, a trust factor. There's no missale, easy communication. The awareness is much more. And, the customer interest is there to look forward to that product. The only thing is, how do you reach out to them in different formats with geographies, channels, partners, awareness, training, digital way of reaching out. So I think those are the multitude of things which will work towards to make that happen.
Mr. Parthasarthy, HDFC Bank perhaps has the best distribution channel, right, in the country. How is it that you leverage the platform that you have at your disposal to better cross-sell life insurance products?
So let me talk about the distribution network.
Yes.
Okay? We have roughly around 9,500 odd branches. So, and why do we have this distribution? See, one is that, banking is, in that sense, banking services are slightly underpenetrated in a lot of places in India. And the second thing is, India is, as all of us know, one of the largest, fastest growing large economy, right? And along with that, you have obviously the per capita growing faster than that, because population is growing slower than the growth rate of the. So what that means is that there are many number of people, new customers, who will require more and more of financial services. So the idea of the branch expansion is that one should be able to provide financial services at various locations to a larger set of people, right? And the brand is a very highly trusted brand, and group provides everything, right? Banking services, banking products, insurance, investment services. So anything an individual or any entity would need in terms of financial services is available. Coming specifically to life insurance, right? We have maybe around 97 odd million customers, right? And we add anywhere between 8 to 10 million customers every year. We know insurance is very, very underpenetrated in India. And it's a product, where there is a need, everyone has a need for that product, but it's not something which one goes out and naturally buys.
Yeah.
Right? There are few set of people who are very conscious and they need protection and they need, so they will go ahead. But a larger set of people need to be convinced that there is a need. There is a need, but that need has to be brought out. So awareness, conversations, and that's what the distribution network helps us doing, that we can have conversations with customers and bring out the latent, or I would say, need which is there.
The complacency.
Complacency has to, there's partly complacency, as Lavneesh was saying, especially say term, somebody pays a premium but gets nothing in return, right? It's just protection in case some of an eventuality. So it's a very difficult from a buyer perspective, that you're spending, but whether I'll get anything out of it or not is something. So that's a awareness and conversation. The need has to be brought out, saying that yes, there is a need. What happens if an eventuality happens? Are your dependents protected? So the branch network definitely helps in spreading awareness and having conversations with a larger set of customers.
Lavneesh, we've often talked about how varied India is, and let's talk about the rural segments, the beyond tier 1s and tier 2s, because their needs, their simplicity, their language is just completely contrast as to what India is perhaps at. What is it that you've observed about how they perceive insurance?
So I think rural, so firstly, I think, as I mentioned in the previous discussion, and I think Ashish mentioned about the distribution variety in terms of the bank being invested in semi-urban and rural markets. And, a lot of insights in the last couple of years have become more intensified. To know that the customer advocacy happens through some familiar groups which they have. So if you're looking at a particular, Zilla Panchayat and how it goes down to the rural markets, the customer or end consumer listens to some set which is there within that rural markets. So how do you entrench into them with the ability that they are a banking client with a trust factor which is attached? And then how do you make it available as awareness of the product? Technically, the simplified products is a learning which you've realized has worked over there. The product has to be simply like a term also. Let's assume the one is an objection which will say, I'm selfish, I pay premium, but I don't get any benefit because it's in my lifetime I don't get to see. They're open to look at return of premium in term insurance. So they realize that they are immortal. It's okay to pay premium and at least get it because I'm going to survive that period. So that becomes much more easier as an insight in terms of what is it that is being put across. Secondly, I think we need to also, through the various channels which are through the last mile where they buy stuff, which could be a Kirana store as well. How do you enable the process at a digital level? So is the buying journey available till that last mile where they are reaching out? And that is a daily buying journey apart from the customer advocacy community groups which they are looking forward to. I think these are some of the elements, how deep you go, and I think which is what the banking relationship helps and understand to integrate there and work towards the best of in terms of the rural segment penetration.
Very innovative data centers, right? Kirana stores. But, we were just discussing, Mr. Parthasarthy, India's growth story is now increasingly outside the metros. And metros perhaps would be penetrated enough, not fully, but penetrated enough. What do you think can be done with the lineage of HDFC Bank to try and penetrate and help customize solutions for tier 2 and 3 cities and beyond?
See, as I mentioned in the earlier discussion also, India is growing, but Bharat is also growing as faster possibly. Absolute numbers, etc., will still be higher in metro and urban, given the size, etc. But yes, the growth rates are much faster in the tier 3 onwards and semi-urban and rural areas. As Lavneesh was mentioning, one, of course, the product design could be slightly different for these areas. But again, the effort to spread awareness and get them to realize the need for insurance is much higher. Being in these cities, and the customers being customers of the bank, one, of course, there is a large trust factor. The need is to be able to simplify the product, simplify the explanation as to why the need is there and what does the product. So, the simplification becomes that much more important. Digital, yes, because if something needs to be done, digital, irrespective of geography, digital is required, right? However, just digital doesn't help, especially in insurance, a product like insurance. Without conversations, and also insurance not a simple product.
Yeah.
It has many varieties. Within a life insurance, within a term insurance, there could be many things like riders, etc. There are policies which are in terms of money back or premium back. Then there are savings. So there are different sets of policies. So digital just makes it easier. Some products, possibly like something like a travel insurance, is very easy to digital. You don't require too much of experience. But other things require a combination of presence, combination of conversation with the customer, and then digital to complete the transaction. And from these places, now almost everywhere we have things like video KYC in different languages. So, local language, people there in the branches know the local language. So, so to communicate becomes that much easier, and that's why the spread of branches helps in all these aspects.
But Mr. Parthasarthy, personalization, I guess, it's the biggest factor. Even if I look at tier 1 cities as a cohort, each and all of us have very different requirements from our insurance and different needs. I mean, there's everything from Gen Z to first-time homeowners or, salaried class. And then there are HNIs and so on and so forth as well. How does a bank like you, with the kind of data and the knowledge that you have about customer needs, try and customize insurance suited and tailored to each and every individual?
So, two parts to it, right? One part is analyzing the customer profile, and that's the strongest thing which we have. We have data. We should be able to analyze what the customer could require at this stage in life, right? It could be beginning career, it could be or type of customer like Gen Z or a proprietor or an SME or a high net worth. They are different. One is, of course, type of customers, and within the type, what stage of life cycle you are on, and that So two things it does. One, obviously, the need, the propensity of the customer for a particular product, and secondly, the suitability of the product to the customer, right? You're not selling anything to everybody, right? The product has to be suitable to the customer. So the analysis does that, and then you identify different needs. Like a Gen Z might require, say, maybe smaller sizes, maybe more savings or more money back, because and slowly, steadily they add on to in smaller sizes. And SME or a sole proprietor, the business is completely dependent on that person. So how do you protect the business and the person in terms of eventuality, especially if they have borrowed money? So a term cover makes sense, and then they have to be convinced. Self-employed and SME, they don't have regular cash flows, right? They won't have access to superannuation or pension from their organizations. So retirement planning for them also becomes that much critical, right? What happens after a certain age, or after especially if you are the sole person running the business, maybe no one else will run the business after.
They are the business.
They are the business. What do you do? Cash flows when you get older. So your retirement plan. Those things like that. So these are the needs. You profile, you figure out the needs, and then you work with partners and work with them. This is the possible need, and the partners then design the product. So we work together, right? It's a complete partnership. It's not they have some products and we have to sell. No, it's like, what is the need? Can we work together, fine tune some products, or make design some products for specific customer segments, or design products for specific geographies. So all that we work together. They provide us trainings, etc. So it works beautifully well.
No, so it's been a great journey in terms of, so I think HDFC Bank as a parent and also as a fact of the customer base which it has, it gives the opportunity to penetrate into there. So the comfort and the the relationship and trust factor plays over. And Ashish mentioned about the fact that training, awareness, co-joint work in terms of the product strategy, it helps to integrate. This is a classification of a customer segment. How do you sell what product which suits? And it's a very well-oiled process over the last 25 years or so, that we've been able to integrate a lot of things and much in advance in terms of what can be done, which is customer right in terms of the product.
Okay. Here's to many more insurance customers getting added to the pool. Thank you both of you for your time today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Gupta and Mr. Parthasarthy, for sharing such valuable insights on how life insurance and banking can come together to drive financial inclusion, customer trust, and future-ready innovation. This collaboration between HDFC Life and HDFC Bank is a testament to the power of synergy in shaping India's protection landscape. That's all on this episode of HDFC Life Presents Live Sessions, partnered by ET Now. Stay tuned for more conversations that inspire, inform, and bring us closer to a financially secure future. Until next time.